Live. Hello, people who are not watching live, since those are the only people who see this because you watch it later and it's too fast for everybody else. Let's see. Editor's desk. Question. That's what I'm trying to find. Dan Crafton asked it, and I intend to answer. I intend to answer it. By gosh and by golly. I would not want to miss it. Thanks for taking my question. Yep. Curate how Tom curates his feed. So Dan Crafton. Good morning, Ernesto. Dan Crafton had asked, I'm working on cleaning up my Feedly. Would you mind a future editor's desk show your method of curating your feed and who you look at? I see you use it on office hours and you seem like your feed is well tuned. Then said, thanks for the tons of information. If you ever do some tweaking on office hours, title it that way. I would not want to miss it. Okay. So let's go through my feeds as people tile on in. So there's my feeds. It is a compunction to check out the new ones. How to create PDFs on iPhones using notes. That seems a very not Vergy article. Very how to. Huh. Is that something they're going to do more of? Everything we know about Agatha Law. Okay. So I have, for my own personal feeds, and I mimic this in the team feeds for tech as well, but not for everything else. I have comics. I have news. I have Reddit. Reddit's just Reddit. I have people. I have entertainment. And I have tech. For the purposes of this discussion, I'm only going to talk about news, entertainment, and tech. Because entertainment is really meant to feed cord killers. Tech and news are meant to feed DTNS. News is also meant to feed me, my brain. So the news selections here are meant to be a sort of compilation of different perspectives. Man. So STL today, I really want to read the St. Louis Post-Dispatch more, but it just doesn't want me to. Okay, so they always change the lineup. Okay, they changed the iconography. St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Feedly really wants you to track by topics. And a lot of companies are not doing, let's see what's in here. These are Google alerts. All right, I'll try it. Put it in my news feed. A lot of these companies are not doing RSS feeds anymore, so you have to find other ways of doing it. Feedly's been very good about that. All right, so now my news feed has St. Louis Post-Dispatch alerts, BBC News, the BC Lions, Boing Boing, Reuters, and the Bulwark. I don't love the Bulwark, but it gives me something. Just can't seem to find something to fit that slot. Here's another one. Can I do this? I want to move the conversation to news. I get great stuff out of the conversation. I read my news feeds every day. I just kind of want to have it in there. From tech to news. Yes. Oh, good. I can. Great. That also means I'm going to remove it from here, because this is really just meant to be exactly the same as this. Did I not add 404 to my personal though? I just noticed that the team feed has 404 media, and this one does not seem to have it. All right. I think I have to behind the dog. Yeah. Oh, weird. Okay, so how do I have it? How do I go from here? Oh, man. Yeah, so this is interesting. I want to add 404 media to here as well. I don't want to create a new folder. Manage feeds. All right, what if I go into the DTNS one? Manage feeds. Oh, there we go. I had to choose following, and then I can put it in my personal. Boy, that took a while, didn't it? Happy 5th of July, Zoe, and congratulations on your new government. Buenas tardes, Selvin09. All right, so let's see. 404 Media, Reuters, Ars Technica, you know, Bleeping Computer, Bloomberg. It should be exactly the same. Reuters, Ars Technica, BBC, Bleeping Computer. Okay. And then the conversation, same thing. I'm going to go. How did I do it just now? Manage feeds. The conversation. Edit. It is in my personal folders. And it should not be in here in the team folder. I thought it was in my personal folder though, right? Was it not? Didn't you see me do that? Okay. So here it is. Yeah. So that's basically what I wanted to do. I love the conversation. I think they have great stuff, but it's not always tech. So I wanted to move it. Oh, good. And now all of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch stuff is showing up. Okay, great. So now when I look at news, I will see the conversation in with the news, which is mostly Reuters and BBC, to be honest. When I go to tech, I should see, I will not see the conversation. And the reason I wanted to move that around is because a lot of the times the conversation puts out a lot of stuff at once, and it will dominate when I'm scanning the news, and it throws me off in understanding like what are the big tech stories, because I get these very unrelated stories about Australian politics and UK politics and things that just aren't technology. So I would rather pull them out of news into technology than sift them. So now when you look at my tech feed, let's see all the articles. It'll be The Verge, Engadget, Hacker News, The Rot. All right. And this is going to be easier to scan for me in the morning. So that is an example of me curating it, as long and twisted as that was, me trying to figure out the Feedly interface. But I get Reuters Tech, which is not pulling in stuff. Because of the discontinued API. So let's get rid of that. And then, gosh, I wish I could just sync these. The team one also is probably not doing anything. This is one of the reasons I have Reuters in news, because I want to get the Reuters tech stories, but they're not, it's kind of hard to find them. All right, let's see if we can do Reuters tech with a Google alert. We couldn't find an existing feed for this URL. You used to be able to just get Reuters tech stories. You can't. I'm going to put it in the team tech folder, and I'm going to put it in the personal tech folder. There we go. Sweet. That could take the pressure off me needing to have Reuters in my news. Although Reuters in my news is not bad. My news feed also, I thought had Bloomberg in it. Does it not? No, it doesn't. Bloomberg Tech, though. Bloomberg Tech. Okay, Bloomberg Tech. Yeah, all right. Those are still working. Five hours ago. Good. And this one should have something 2 days ago. Okay, it's maybe defunct, or maybe they just haven't been upgrading that one as much. This is an RSS feed. This is a another like look at something. I don't remember what. Is it new Google News Alert? Anyway, maybe it's video, possibly video. All right. So I've got the Wall Street Journal, which again could be news, but it's the Wall Street Journal tech feed. So I don't have all of Wall Street Journal. Then I have Wired, Thurrott, The Verge. NextWeb gives me international. China Global South Project, which is also not just tech, but it's small enough that I can sift through and get the tech stuff, and it's got a good amount of tech. Tech Dirt for very much for legal and copyright stuff. TechCrunch, Tech in Asia, Reuters Tech, Rest of World, MIT Technology Review, Hacker News and Gadget, Bloomberg Tech. I probably don't need both of these. Which one was the one that was 2 days old? This one? Yeah. I could probably get rid of that one because this one's got everything. Should I get rid of it? You know what? I'm going to hold off getting rid of it until I pay closer attention to what's coming from it. Because maybe more is coming from it than I think. Bleeping Computer for Security, BBC News, Ars Technica, 404 Media. Okay, nothing more abundant. NextWeb's a little on the bubble. I haven't been using it as much lately. So I need to, decide if it's really contributing, or do I need to seek another international news, especially European news is what I used to use TNW for. And I don't feel like I've been pulling from it as much as I used to. TechCrunch has been doing more international stuff, though. Not so much Europe. Some Europe, definitely, but a lot of Indian news and coming into TechCrunch as well. But certainly a more global perspective on TechCrunch, which I think is good. So there you go. Yeah, BBC, I think I just get the tech feed, not the Keir Starmer feed. Electric car battery, Japan declares victory in the war on floppy disks, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I have BBC news up here in the news feed, which is separate. All right, so there you go. There, I curated a little bit of a feed. Now, as far as marking goes, okay, so comics, I have a bunch of comics. I have news. I have people, which are blogs and people I like to see when they update. Entertainment, these are mostly for the purposes of feeding cord killers. Boy, IO9 hasn't had, it's unreachable. Yeah, I'm going to have to follow it. I kind of figured. Sad. SF Signal, I'm just hoping it comes back. All right, rest of these are all good. and then tech, of course. So then cord killers is things that might be useful for the cord killers show. Explainers are topics I might want to turn into and know a little more. Sword and laser, obviously sword and laser, although I get most of my stuff for sword and laser from the community these days. Things, when I notice something that might be for it's a thing, I'll post it there. Top 5 ideas. And then DTNS is a shared board. So things that might be good in DTNS go there. And then Rob and Roger and Sarah, and I think Rich even is still on there, can see all of those. So there you go. That is my feeds and how I curate them. If anybody's has specific questions, I'd be happy to go back and cover all that better and in a more organized way. But I kind of figured that gets to Dan's question about how do I curate them? How do I move things around? How do I evaluate them in a more visual way than I was able to do on Editor's Desk? Adam says, I use the same setup in my Feedly and used to have CNET, but it's sadly become an SEO optimization garbage dump that I just took it out. Yeah, you know what? CNET still has some good stuff. And when it does, it shows up in other outlets. So I've classed it in the secondary source, along with things like Android Authority and Mac Rumors, where they're great. But I don't need to read them all the time because there's a lot of stuff that isn't relevant in there. And the stuff that is relevant will get referred to in Hacker News or be reported on by one of the other major blogs. And they'll credit this came from Android Authority. So CNET's kind of in that class for me. Scott Stein had a really good article up today. And I became aware of it because I saw people referring to it in my other feeds. So, Keir Starmer went to the same school as your husband? Does that make your husband prime minister? Probably not. Congrats on a fast election, though. I'll be honest. I know that a lot of you are fans of the 7-year election season that we have in the United States. I am not. I really like the idea of you call an election 2 months ahead of time, you campaign for 2 months, you have the election, you count all the votes that day, and then the prime minister takes office the next day. Boom, 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 done. Very efficient. Well done. Not everything the UK does is efficient. I understand that, but that's pretty darn efficient. So my compliments to the efficiency of your system. We started our campaign years ago, and we haven't finished ours yet. And the vote counting won't happen all on one day because we use a baroque, outdated, and overly complex system. But that's the price of freedom. Having it on July 4th, though, I tell you. All right. Any other questions, comments, theories, conspiracies, myths? Anything else you want to throw around now that I've shown you the inner secrets of my feeds and whom I love in them? I mean, those are whom I love. Those are just the sources that I tend to consult the most often, and therefore makes the most sense for me to be looking at them directly. Oh, 7 updates. 7's in his crate. He just turned 11 weeks yesterday. He's about a third larger than he was when we got him, and still growing. He is occasionally driving us crazy by being a disobedient puppy, because that's what puppies do. And we lose our minds temporarily when he loses his mind temporarily. But majority of the time, he's a very good boy. He's very sweet. He's a very good puppy, and we're keeping him busy. He's smart dog. We have never had the blessing of a dumb dog yet. Not that any dogs are really dumb, but you know what I mean? This kid, man, woo, put a puzzle in there. We've given him these advanced puzzles that are really, for 7-month-old puppies. And he's like, boom, 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 found all the traits. What's next? He did great with the fireworks too. Most of the time he was just ignoring them. He was like, I don't know what that is. So he didn't even acknowledge them until peak time, when they were going off, right? Boom, 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 boom. We went out to pee. He stopped, peed, and then kind of listened and was like, let's go back inside. That was a little loud for him, but yeah, he did pretty good. Now, and maybe just because he's a puppy and he doesn't understand to be scared, although he's usually pretty sensitive to stuff. So I think they were far enough away and such that he was like, yeah, I don't know what that is. If they had been in our yard, I think he would have had an entirely different reaction. But yeah, lawn dog, exactly. We're giving him lots of structure. You know, he has a routine, he has training and playtime, and trying to set those boundaries, man. It works a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, but those few moments when he's like, no, I'm not going to listen to you. I just want to dig up this potted plant. He'll make you tear your hair out so that you don't tear his out. Also started trying to brush him. He doesn't know what to make of that because he's like, oh, you're playing with me with this toy. And I'm like, no, this isn't a toy. And then he's like, oh, that feels kind of good. And then he sniffs that his hair is on there. He's like, why is part of me on there? And then he wants to eat his own fur. Typical puppy. Let's see. Oh, Amazon's birthday is today, initially incorporated in 1994. Interesting. Happy birthday, Amazon. That's the 7 update. So he's doing pretty good. And we've got a puppy daycare appointment in the works, so he can go hang out with some other dogs and get more socialized. He's been meeting a lot of neighbors and stuff, so he's pretty good with people. Yeah, he's just coming along, getting bigger and bigger. He's gonna be a big dog. I don't think he's going to be a huge, like mastiff size or anything, but at some point, the playpen we got for him is not going to be sufficient. So we're trying to figure out how to deal. In a year and a half, he'll just be a dog and he'll have his routine and it'll be like any other dog. It's just going to take us a while to get to that point. And you got to go through all the puppy stages to get there. Yeah, man, he's snack puzzle. He just opens all those drawers now, like 10 minutes flat. The circular puzzle we got, where he goes in and he has to move things around, that keeps him busy a little longer. Yeah, that's 7 the dog update. We have some videos in the works that'll go up on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be too big for a backseat, Adam. That's another battle we've been trying to get him used to the car harness so that we can have him in the back seat alone, and not worry about him bouncing around. One of us having to hold him because he's not quite big enough to just be in the back seat. Oh, that's never a great idea anyway. Right. And so we need to have the harness, and we've gotten to where he'll wear the harness and walk around a little bit, but then he still wants to chew it. So we need to get the fitting better for that. Funny boy, loves to eat sticks. He's a stick dog. He'll chase a ball. He's not against it. Yeah, he'll even do fetch with the tiny ball in the porch. But give him a stick, that kid's going to be happy for minutes, which is hours for him at his lifespan. Yeah, he'll be 3 months next Thursday. 3 months. Feels like years. All right. Anything else? I got to go and get some other off-screen prep done until DTNS in an hour and 20 minutes. Have a good time, and hopefully I'll be back for that. All right. Good talking to y'all. Bye, everybody.